The first sound is glass, not a crack. A full explosion of safety glass folding inward across the hood of a black Mercedes in a Buckhead Clinic parking lot on a Tuesday morning in Atlanta, Georgia. Sloane Mercer is already mid-swing. Her second arm comes down hard, the tire iron catching the driver's side window. The shatter sprays across the concrete like ice. She is screaming something, but the words are swallowed by the sound of metal on frame. Aveline Price Harrington is 7 months pregnant, standing 2 feet from the car door. One hand is pressed flat against her stomach. Her prenatal appointment folder is still tucked under her other arm. Her white blouse has a single shard of glass on the shoulder. She does not run. She does not scream back. Her chin lifts exactly 1 inch, and she just stands there, watching, one hand on her unborn child. A security guard near the clinic entrance freezes mid-step. His radio is in his hand, but he has not pressed a single button. 2 women in scrubs stop walking. A man holding a paper coffee cup lets it tilt until the lid pops off and coffee runs across his wrist. He does not flinch. Nobody moves because nobody in that parking lot can believe what they are seeing. Blaze Harrington, 6 feet of tailored navy wool, stands near the clinic entrance with both hands in his pockets. He does not walk toward his wife. He does not call out. His eyes sweep the lot once, slow, checking who has a phone out. Hi viewers, have you ever watched someone you loved get hurt while the person who promised to protect them just stood there and did nothing? Drop a comment below right now and tell us what you would have done, because the answer might change how this story hits you. Taryn Bell, a clinic nurse on her break, steps back into the doorway. Her phone is pressed against her chest, screen facing out. Her lips pressed together so tight the color leaves them. She does not stop recording. 2 officers come from the parking lot's far end, boots hitting asphalt at a run. Sloane turns at the sound, chest heaving, tire iron still in her grip. Blaze straightens his jacket. And then a black SUV rolls into the lot entrance, slow and deliberate, the kind of slow that has nothing to do with traffic. The door opens. The woman who steps out is wearing a charcoal dress uniform with gold pins on the collar. Every officer in that parking lot goes still. Nobody told Blaze Harrington that his wife's mother was the Atlanta police commissioner. Nobody had to. 3 months before the glass, Aveline's world is cold marble and empty chairs. The nursery on the 2nd floor of the Buckhead mansion has not been touched in 11 days. The paint samples are still fanned out on the floor beside a can of primer Blaze said he would open on a Saturday. The Saturday came and went. He was in Miami. He did not call. Aveline sits at the kitchen island at 6:45 in the morning, prenatal vitamins lined up beside her orange juice like soldiers. She swallows each one without looking at them. Her fingers rest on a manila folder, investor documents she spent 3 nights reformatting because Blaze's assistant got the margins wrong for the bank presentation. She corrects the last page, closes the folder, and sets it at the head of the table where Blaze will sit. He will pick it up without saying thank you. She already knows this. She knew it before she stayed up past midnight. Above the refrigerator, mounted flat against the cabinet with a single adhesive strip, is a dashcam unit still in its box. Her mother, Commissioner Celeste Price, placed it on the counter 4 months ago without ceremony. She said 6 words: "Truth needs a witness when powerful people lie." Then she left for a city council briefing. Aveline set the box on top of the refrigerator and forgot about it until the next morning, when she installed it in her car before the route to her first trimester checkup. The camera saves to a private cloud account under Aveline's personal email, not the joint account, hers. That same morning, Blaze's phone buzzes face up on the counter while he is in the shower. Aveline glances at it by accident. The message is not a love note. It reads, "She needs to be gone before that baby gets here. Handle it or I will." Aveline reads it twice. Then she sets a glass of water next to his phone and walks upstairs. She does not say a word. Sloane Mercer does not come into the marriage quietly. She appears at a donor charity dinner at the Four Seasons in Midtown Atlanta, wearing a rose gold bracelet with a sliding clasp, the exact bracelet Aveline had pointed to in a Buckhead boutique window 6 months earlier. The one Blaze said was too delicate for everyday wear and never bought. It is on Sloane's wrist now, catching the chandelier light every time she reaches across the table. She touches Blaze's forearm twice during dinner, not casual, deliberate. She looks at Aveline when she does it. Blaze moves his arm exactly once, then he leaves it there. The narrator knows this detail matters. Blaze's fatal mistake is not the affair. His mistake is believing that Aveline's silence at that dinner table is fear. He has built a quiet, private theory about his wife, that her calm nature means she will accept anything to protect the family name. He does not understand that some people go quiet because they are counting. He has never once considered what Aveline might be counting. Over the next 4 weeks, Sloane escalates in small ways. She sends a photo of herself and Blaze at a hotel rooftop. She calls the pregnancy bad timing in a voice note that accidentally goes to a group thread with 2 of Blaze's business contacts. She leaves a bottle of his cologne on his jacket pocket, not inside on top of the pocket, where it is impossible to miss. Then comes the message that stops being about an affair and starts being about danger. It lands on Aveline's personal phone from an unknown number. "Sign the papers, or I will make sure you regret staying." Aveline screenshots it. She names the file. She saves it in a folder she has been building since the morning she read the first message on Blaze's counter. The folder has 11 items in it now. The pressure does not arrive loud. It arrives in paperwork. Aveline's secondary card, the one linked to the household account she used for nursery supplies, prenatal appointments, and groceries, stops working on a Wednesday at a Whole Foods register. The cashier tries it twice. Aveline pays cash. She drives home without calling Blaze because she already knows what happened. 3 days later, a letter from a downtown Atlanta law firm arrives in a cream envelope addressed only to her. It is a draft separation agreement. Her name is spelled correctly. The date is 2 weeks ago. Blaze's publicist has already started planting a quiet story with a local lifestyle blog that Aveline has been struggling emotionally with the pregnancy, that the marriage has been strained by her instability. The blog does not run it, but 2 people who know Aveline receive calls asking for comment. Sloane, meanwhile, is no longer only sending messages. She appears outside the obstetrics clinic on a Monday. She stands near the entrance for 40 minutes, then leaves. She waits outside a baby goods store on Peachtree Road. She leaves a cracked plastic baby rattle on the front steps of the Buckhead mansion on a Thursday night. Aveline sits in the nursery that night with both hands on her stomach, the broken rattle on the windowsill beside her. She speaks out loud to the baby, not a speech, just a sentence. "You are not going to learn fear from this house." She does not call her mother. She does not want Celeste to see how long she has been enduring this. Not yet. The next morning, backing out of the driveway, Aveline notices a red Nissan parked across the street. It was there yesterday. It was there the day before. That is the 3rd time in 1 week. Aveline begins to move, not loudly, not fast. She moves the way water moves, patient, quiet, and impossible to stop. She opens a private notebook on her phone and begins logging dates, times, locations, and descriptions. The red Nissan, the cracked rattle, The day the card was frozen. The draft separation letter. She photographs the envelope. She photographs the rattle. She records a voice memo describing the Whole Foods incident while the details are fresh. She goes to her next prenatal appointment and speaks to Taryn Bell at the intake desk. Not about Sloan directly. She asks casually whether anyone has been asking about her appointment schedule. Taryn pauses. Then she says in a lower voice that a woman matching Sloan's description has been in the lot before. Twice. Taryn noticed because she thought the woman was a patient who kept forgetting to come inside. Aveline nods. She thanks Taryn. She makes a note. At his Thursday lunch with an investor in Midtown, Blaze says something he does not realize will cost him everything. He leans across the table and says, "She doesn't have the stomach for war." He means Aveline. He is talking about the separation agreement. He is laughing when he says it. The investor does not laugh. That evening, Aveline sends one message to her mother. It is not a cry for help. It is a question. When does silence become danger? Celeste Price reads it in her office at Atlanta Police Headquarters. She sets her phone face down on the desk and is quiet for 12 seconds. Then she picks it back up and types. When the person hurting you starts counting on it. The next morning, Aveline drives to her prenatal appointment. It is a routine visit, 40 minutes. Blood pressure check, baby weight measurement, heartbeat listen. Sloan is already in the parking lot. Aveline is walking out of the clinic entrance when Sloan steps in front of her car and blocks the lane. She is wearing all black. Her voice carries across the open lot before Aveline is close enough to respond. She accuses Aveline of trapping Blaze with the pregnancy. She says the marriage was dead before the baby was conceived. She says Aveline has been living off a man who chose someone else years ago. A woman getting into a Honda Civic 3-rows back stops and stares. The security guard near the building entrance takes one step forward and stops. Taryn Bell, returning from her break, reaches the clinic doorway and goes still, her phone pressed flat against her chest, screen facing outward. Then Sloan reaches into her car and lifts the tire iron. The first swing takes out the windshield. The second takes the driver's window. Glass drops across the hood in a sheet. Aveline does not run. She does not raise her hands. She steps back once, places her left palm flat against her stomach, and she stands there. Her chin is level. Her shoulders shake once, one single tremor, then they go still. Her eyes stay on Sloan. She looks like a woman who has already decided that nothing happening in this parking lot will break her. Blaze arrives at the lot entrance. He looks at the shattered car. He looks at his wife. He straightens his jacket and says, "Let's not make this into something it doesn't have to be." Nobody in the parking lot moves. Then one of the responding officers turns toward the lot entrance, pulls his shoulders back, and says 3 words. "Commissioner Price is here." Celeste Price does not rush. She walks at the pace of someone who has already decided the outcome. She reaches her daughter first. She places both hands on Aveline's face, checks her eyes, drops her hands to Aveline's stomach for exactly 3 seconds, then turns to face the scene. Blaze steps forward. He says this is a private family matter. He says the situation has been misread. He uses the word overreaction once. Celeste looks at him, the way a woman looks at a man she has already added to a case file. Then the evidence comes out, not from Celeste. From the record Aveline has been building for 11 weeks. The first piece is the dash cam. Cloud retrieved on a responding officer's tablet in under 4 minutes. The footage shows Sloan's red Nissan trailing Aveline on 3 separate dates, including one where the car follows her from the mansion to the clinic and idles outside for 38 minutes. The second piece is the saved messages. Screenshots, voice notes, and the threat message from the unknown number, The one that said, "Sign the papers, or you will regret staying." Metadata timestamps confirm the dates. The third piece is Taryn's video. Recorded from the clinic doorway, it captures Sloane's voice clearly saying, "Blaze said you'd fold after this." The lot goes quiet the way lots do when everyone present simultaneously understands that what they are watching is not a domestic dispute. It is documentation. Blaze's face does not collapse all at once. It falls in stages, first the jaw, then the eyes, then the hands which come out of his pockets for the first time since he arrived. Sloane looks at him. He does not look back. Then Sloane opens her mouth and says something to the nearest officer that she absolutely cannot take back. Sloane says Blaze told her Aveline had already agreed to leave. She says he showed her a signed document. She says the whole plan, the pressure, the clinic appearances, the rattle on the porch was his direction, not her idea. She says it in front of 4 officers, 2 witnesses, and a woman with a phone who has been recording since the first swing of the tire iron. Blaze takes a single step backward. Within 48 hours, his world begins coming apart in layers. His lead investor on a $60 million mixed-use development in Old Fourth Ward sends a one-line email pausing all disbursements pending, a review of recent public events. A domestic safety advocacy group connected to one of his largest donor relationships releases a public statement asking for accountability. His publicist, the one who planted the story about Aveline's emotional instability, resigns by text message without explanation. His attorney calls and tells him the dashcam footage, the threatening messages, and Taryn's video taken together give Aveline's legal team a viable harassment and intimidation filing. The attorney uses the word coordinated. He says it twice. On the third day, Blaze goes to the townhouse where Aveline has been staying with a cousin in Decatur. He stands at the front door. He tells her he can stop everything if she stops cooperating. He says it almost gently, the way a man talks when he is used to getting what he wants through tone alone. Aveline looks at him through the screen door and says one sentence. "You watched her swing a tire iron over your child's car seat." Blaze does not answer. He drives back to Buckhead. He believes the worst has passed. That evening, Celeste receives a second file. It comes from Blaze's former company accountant, who has been watching the news. The second file is 43 pages. It documents a pattern inside Blaze's real estate company. Pressure campaigns against tenants in 3 properties to force early exits without buyouts. Intimidation of a former employee who tried to file a wage complaint, and coordinated legal threats against a small contractor who disputed a payment on a Midtown project. Sloane's tire iron in that parking lot is the thread that pulled the entire garment apart. Sloane faces formal charges, felony vandalism, criminal stalking, and reckless endangerment of a pregnant woman. She accepts a plea deal 8 weeks later. She does not look at Blaze in the courtroom. He is seated 2 rows behind her between his attorneys. Blaze faces a civil harassment case and a separate state investigation into his business conduct. 3 investors pull out before the first filing. His Midtown project stalls. His name, which spent 5 years in the Atlanta Business Chronicle as a success story, appears there now in a different kind of article. Aveline's accounts are restored under court order within 2 weeks. She moves out of the mansion before the baby is born into a 3-bedroom home in East Atlanta with a nursery that she paints herself over 2 weekends. Sage green, her choice, no approval needed. Commissioner Celeste Price, through a quiet departmental memo, works with two Atlanta obstetrics clinics to implement a new intake protocol giving pregnant patients a discreet way to report stalking or partner intimidation without using the front desk. The protocol is named after no one. It does not need a name to work. 8 weeks after the trial, Aveline stands in a hospital room on a Sunday evening holding a 7-pound, 4-ounce boy with dark eyes and a grip that will not let go of her finger. A nurse asks if she has a visitor request form for the father. Aveline looks at her son's face for a long moment. Then she asks for the form. 4 months after that hospital room, Aveline is in a wide, sunlit community center in East Point, Georgia. The walls are painted warm cream. A folding table near the window holds a stack of folders, printed guides on how to document harassment, how to preserve digital evidence, how to speak to a clinic intake nurse if home is not safe. She is standing at a whiteboard, marker in hand, talking to a small group of women in folding chairs. Some of them are pregnant. Some of them are not. All of them are listening the way people listen when they recognize their own story in someone else's voice. Beside the folding table, a stroller sits angled toward the window. Inside it, a boy named Elias Reed Harrington is asleep with both fists curled under his chin, unbothered by the Atlanta afternoon light falling across his face. Near the back of the room, in a chair against the wall, Celeste Price sits with her jacket folded across her lap. She is not Commissioner Price today. She is a mother watching her daughter stand at the front of a room and own it. The broken car is long gone. The glass was swept up on a Tuesday morning in a Buckhead Clinic parking lot, and the story that started there ended here, not with revenge, not with a scene, but with a woman teaching other women how to stay safe, stay documented, and stay standing. Sloane thought she was swinging at Aveline's last piece of dignity. All she broke was the silence that was already costing Aveline everything. Here is a question for every person watching this today. Have you ever stayed quiet to keep the peace, only to look back and realize your silence was protecting the wrong person? Leave your answer in the comments right now, because someone watching this video tonight is still in that silence, and your words might be exactly what they need to take the first step out. If this story moved you, share it with one person who needs to hear it. And if you are new here, subscribe, because every day we bring you stories about real courage, real consequences, and real people who refuse to fold.